Warm welcome from my side and also on behalf of the Women in Geospatial Plus community. Before I start, I would like to convey a big thank you to Cheryl and the ISPRS Student Consortium for giving us the opportunity to present you today the Women in Geospatial Plus network. Our outline today is that I will give a short overview what Women in Geospatial Plus is, what we do, why we need a network like this, and then Sabrina will dive a bit more deeper into the mentorship program. Specifically, she has launched last year. And so this will be like the first half an hour, and then we have a question and answer session. So any question you always wanted to know about Women in Geospatial Plus, Sabrina and I are here to respond to you. You can also, we have the Slido, we have set up a Slido. So you can go to slido.com and then hashtag WIG_AMA, AMA, and there you can already post questions, and we will hop onto Slido during the question and answer session, and then we can go through the questions you posted there. Yeah, in this way, I would start. So Sabrina, if you could go to the next slide. Yes. Okay. So why is, probably some of you think, oh, is another women's network, and do we really need these women groups, etc. And I would like to start with a survey which has been done as part of the Victoria University in New Zealand in 2016. And this survey was asking about career progressions, especially for young women starting in the GIS and geospatial industry. And it was quite interesting, but also quite shocking, the numbers to see that around 62%, so almost 2/3 of the women starting out in the GIS field don't see themselves in 10 years' time. So it is likely that 2/3 of the women who actually start in a geospatial field will leave in 10 years, within 10 years. And the question, this is the first problem. So we have apparently a huge dropout for several reasons. And then another number, which is probably not only in the geospatial field, but across many domains. It's like if we, along the career progression and making a career, if we look up the management level, women are outnumbered at a ratio 4:1. So we have two problems or challenges if we want to make the geospatial field a field which is diverse and also which is welcoming for any gender. And so we have to tackle the huge dropout, which is happening apparently. And at the same time, we also have to bring more diversity and more women onto the management level, and also onto the level where decisions are made. If we continue. Okay, there are some studies on why women and underrepresented genders, so why we have this bias and why women and underrepresented genders don't progress. And also on the left side, there are the reasons why or how career progress, so the key aspects why someone might progress in the career and can continue in the career. And these key aspects are related to networking, are related to mentorship and coaching, are related to training and development, and also to simply be bold and simply ask for what you want. So to be decisive and also to be assertive. And this is, on these four aspects, women are, let's say, we're not the best in it. And this is why then in the career progression, there's actually like a huge stop sign at some stage. And for many of us, we can't progress as we would like to in our career. And it has some reasons, one on the personal level, so just on women and underrepresented genders, but then of course there are also systematic biases. And so on personal levels, it's there is facts that women are clearly rate their achievements, and they also undersell their value and strength. So they just don't see it as important to mention what they have achieved. At the same time, if there is a network, they don't feel confident also to leverage this professional network in order to advance in their career. Women and underrepresented genders, we are sociable, but we don't use networking, so we don't do strategic networking. So we actually not good networkers in the professional sense. So we don't go to networking events and really strategically network. And so this is all on more on a personal level, where we have to just train assertiveness and also confidence to do these, and also to raise awareness that it is the fact that, for example, networking is important. So yeah, just go out of your comfort zone and train and practice as much as you can. And then on the other side, there's of course also systematic challenges, and there are unconscious biases which hinder people from underrepresented backgrounds to advance in the career. And especially there are biases, and especially a lot of people, they're still not aware of that there are these biases. And then something important also, that some women, they can't even imagine that they could do a position in a management level, because they just don't have direct role models, and they don't know other women who actually achieved a career progression and went up the management and career ladder. And so if we could jump to the next slide.
Julia, before we go, I'd like to also add a few things to what you just said. So, hi everyone, I'm Sabrina, nice to meet you all. And on the top right, those 3 points talking about why women tend to understate their achievements, that we are in many different cultures socially conditioned to behave in a certain way that is actually undervalued in our professional settings. For instance, women who are assertive, who speak confidently, they are seen in a negative light compared to when a man shows the same behavior, because we are socialized to be more compassionate, to listen more to others, rather than being encouraged to speak up more and take professional risks. So there is some part of this social conditioning that's happening that we ourselves have to recognize and learn to negotiate. So it's quite challenging, but it's possible.
Yes, and exactly, these are all these reasons why we actually started a Women in Geospatial Plus network, because we think that by creating a very strong network, so of many women and underrepresented genders, so a strong network of women in geospatial leaders and change makers, that we can change the current status, and we can also change some of the unconscious biases and really make a positive change for everyone in order to succeed in the industry we all love to be in. And yes, so the next slide, please. So the Women in Geospatial Network is a bit more than 1 year old now, and it started with a call on Twitter, actually one day before International Women's Day in 2019, and we asked for who would be actually interested in a network like this in order to to bring women together and for exchange and to share experiences. And within 2 days, we had over 300 women showing interest in a network. And so this actually showed, oh, there is a need for a network like this. And so we, within the last year, we slowly started building up the network, and we just hit the 1,100 sign up mark. So since last week, we already brought together 1,100 people who signed up being part of Women in Geospatial. And we also, so we work on 3 aspects at the moment. So we build up a community in on different levels. We also host events, informally, but also formal events, in person and also online. And something Sabrina will talk on a bit later, we also run a career mentorship program very successfully. If we go to the next slide. Okay, so the first one is, it's the idea to really bring together women plus, so persons of underrepresented genders in the geospatial field together. And we do it in this way that we have a Slack channel and a mailing list. And the Slack channel is really women plus only. So this is really a safe space where we don't allow men to join. And it is really a safe space for exchange, for sharing experiences. We have different channels on Slack for different interests. So we have a events channel, we have a job channel, we have different regional chapters who started up their own channels just to discuss more local events and local organizations related to the geospatial field. And then we also have a mailing list, which is a bit broader. So we also, so men can also sign up for the mailing list, but the mailing list at the moment is also is less vibrant. So we inform on an occasional basis what's going on, but really the Slack channel is at the moment the heart of Women in Geospatial Plus, where you can get information, but we also provide a lot of information. And then we also see our role to advocate for women and underrepresented genders in the geospatial field. And this is we do at the moment via social media. So we have a Twitter account at Geospatial Women, and we just hit the over 4,000 followers mark yesterday. And we also have a LinkedIn page or organization where people can also follow us there. And it is a bit, these two profiles or channels are a bit different. So on Twitter, we really advocate for geospatial industry. We share interesting news. We share job alerts, etc. And on LinkedIn, we also share a lot of jobs, but we also highlight geospatial women in the field. So each week we will also share a profile of a woman in the geospatial field, how what she's working on, to also bring a good overview of the different aspects the geospatial industry and academia offers. So if you're interested, you can follow this link on the bottom, bit.ly at /women in geospatial _sign up. And if we then can go to the next slide. We also run events. So since last year, of course, due to COVID-19, it is more online at the moment, and a lot of events we actually planned for this year has been postponed or cancelled. But we already ran a couple of events last year. So there was, for example, one formal event at the Living Planet Symposium where we organized a 1-hour session on career advancement, and where we had a panel discussion discussing what skills are actually important in order to succeed in the geospatial industry. This is the picture on the right. Then we had a small session on the HEU last year, where we presented as part of as part of, or in the framework of when also other women organizations were presented, Women in Geospatial also had a chance to present ourselves. And on the left, it was more a informal gathering in Edinburgh as part of the International Women's Day. There was a Women in Geospatial breakfast organized in Edinburgh. And so this was a bit more informal, but during a breakfast, people attendants could exchange each other. So yeah, due to COVID-19, we hope that our plans of some events will still happen, but most probably or most likely the next year. But you can go to our website, womeningeospatial.org /events, and then you can also see what upcoming events or postponed events there are. One of the upcoming events is also as part of the EGU conference, the Euro Geosciences Union conference. So one of the biggest conferences of earth sciences in Europe, and this will happen at the first week of May, and there we will also have a chat session on women in geospatial. So this is the next online planned event. If we go to the next slide then. Yes, and then this brings us to the final, or to my final point I would like to raise, and also something exciting we would like to launch today with you and also to share with you today. I think this is a common picture, and we just picked one picture. This is just an example which was quite prominent during the Living Planet Symposium last year in Milan in 2019, that we still have too many panels, so men-only panels or men-only keynote speakers. And so we just picked this picture as an example, but there are many other examples out there. And there's a study that worldwide only, that 2/3 of the speakers worldwide are men. And so this is a clear fact that women are underrepresented in conferences and also underrepresented in bringing in their opinion and sharing their perspectives. And this is a real bias we have to tackle. So we started as part of the Women Geospatial Plus community, we started also getting in touch with conference organizers and asking, okay, what happened? Is there a way we can actually help? And the common excuse we get is that, oh yeah, we really tried, but we could not find any relevant women speakers. And this phrase is easy to say, but it really implies a strong problem in our industry. That first of all, a lot of organizers, they actually not aware that they actually at the moment have a man-only panel, and they're not aware of that there is a problem with this. And at the same time, women are just not on the radar for any, or not seen as industry experts that they actually invited. And so, and this is we want to tackle with one project we've been working on the last month, to that at least that this excuse that we said, saying we tried but we could not find any relevant women speakers, will not be relevant anymore. And if we could go to the next slide. This is the reason why we worked on a Women in Geospatial Plus speakers database. And this is actually today, we also would like to launch it because we really see that there is a need for conference organizers. So in this, with the database, we would like to bring together the conference organizers and also women in geospatial who would like to speak, and at the same time also encourage women to speak up and to work on their speaking profile and to work on their public profile in general. And so yeah, if you go to speakers.womeningeospatial.com, you will come to a registration page where you can register for the Women in Geospatial Plus speakers database. If you go to the next slide, please. And yes, in this speakers database, we launch in 2 phases. So today we start with the registration phase, and this will be open around a month or 1.5 months. But this registration will still be open even afterwards. But the second step is then that we launch the full platform, and the full platform is then where also conference organizers and everyone can actually scroll through the profiles and invite women speakers to their events. And the full platform is planned to be launched end of May. So we really encourage any women and people from underrepresented genders who work in a geospatial field in the industry or academia to really register for the speakers database and to set up a profile. And we really aim for this database to be the address if it comes to find women speakers for geospatial conferences. And so, yeah, before I stop, I just would like to invite you again, go to speakers.womeningeospatial.org and please sign up on and create your speakers profile. And with this, I hand over to Sabrina.
Thank you, Julia. So we're really excited to have all of you here with us. And we also encourage you, in addition to joining the speakers database, to also take a look at our Twitter and LinkedIn. We welcome everyone to follow us on both channels because we share a lot of information, job postings, resources, free courses online that everyone can benefit from. And also, if you are someone working in a company or an organization that is hiring, please also tag us so that we can share these job positions with everyone. So Julia has covered very well the events and some of the online communities that we have. We also have a career mentorship program that was just launched last year. My slide is frozen for some reason. So it is a program that's open to everyone. We welcome women and underrepresented genders to apply as mentors and mentees. And we welcome cisgendered men to join us as mentors, because we realize that in terms of networking, there are certain networks that people from underrepresented backgrounds don't have access to. And it is only through finding allies in our industry who are willing to mentor young people, mid-career people to get to that next level. That is the real secret to having a successful mentorship program. So we have 2 different models. The first one is a mentor-mentee pair, which is what you think of for traditional mentorship. We pair people who are from different career stages and have them start this mentoring relationship that will last a year. And then we also have peer mentorship groups, which are up to 3 people. And these people are usually on similar career levels. So as they're going through the same experiences, they can give each other support and be a source of encouragement and sharing of resources. So our first cohort was in fall 2019, and we had about 42 people from over 17 countries in the final mentorship cohort. But we also saw that we had over 190 people apply, which means that there was a very big demand for this kind of mentorship in our industry. And this year, given that we have the COVID-19 outbreak, we think that there will be an even greater demand because our mentorship program is 100% virtual. And this means we can still operate even though the COVID situation is happening. So we brought people together and then we grouped them by their time zones so that they would only be about 1 hour apart, and also by topics that they wanted to develop and grow in. So this is just a quick timeline. Last year, we launched the mentorship applications in August. We gave everyone about a month to apply, and then we announced the matches about a week after the applications closed. And from October to July this year, we will have the mentorship program underway. It will end on the 15th of July, and we will reopen the next set of mentorship applications in September. So what kinds of resources did we offer to the mentors and mentees? First, we came up with a mentorship guidebook that contains a lot of articles and tips for how to be a good mentor or a good mentee. And we gave all these groups an example timeline for coming up with monthly topic discussions when they would meet. And then of course, we also shared our contact information, and we encourage everyone to, touch base with us if things come up, or if, life gets busy sometimes and they needed some flexibility with the program. One thing we also tried to do was to help the groups come to a common understanding of what would be their main goals for the mentorship program. And we did this by sharing a mentorship agreement form that had questions about what the expectations were for how were they going to communicate, what kind of medium to use, how often to touch base, what would be their main goals and topics that they would discuss. And all the members were encouraged to have a discussion together as a group and then fill this in separately afterwards, so that everyone is on the same page. And then we also created a private Slack channel in our community for the mentorship participants so that they could meet other people who are also in the mentorship program. And we would also organize some occasional online meetups, much like the one you have here in the virtual rooms, so that our participants can meet each other. So we had a midterm feedback session to get some feedback from our participants via a short call. And we had about 24 people responding, and we did a short interview with them, or they typed in their answers to a survey. So we gathered some key themes from this discussion, and also collected some anecdotes about how the program is impacting people. So first up, I'll just share a bit about what we found. So in terms of communication and technology, most people were meeting once a month, and their most popular forms of communication were WhatsApp or email. And people wanted to join the program because they really wanted to network with other women in the industry, and for the mentees to receive social support, because often they might be the only women in their company, or when they go to events, they rarely see other women. People wanted to help each other, and for the mentors to really provide that social support, because some of our participants, they themselves have received some mentorship when they were early in their career, and they wanted to pay it forward. And then last but not least, our participants were also really interested in learning new skills and learning from the experiences of other people who might be more advanced in their careers, because really this personal stories are really powerful. So when they meet, most people looked at career development topics. They also shared their goals for the coming year and encouraged each other to help meet those goals. There were also groups that were really interested in connecting their mentees with other people in their networks. And some of them even met up during conferences and events. Because it's virtual, most people were living in different countries, but when they were going to the same event, they could then meet in person. And then another topic was time management and workload. People discussed how to manage different projects at the same time, and how to negotiate with their managers about what kinds of projects to take on. And we really see that in terms of program impact, about 62% of the participants said that this program has really impacted their career or their studies. And most of our participants say that they're likely to recommend the program to other people. So how did they benefit? There were 4 main ways. They felt that they were being inspired and encouraged by the people in their mentorship group, and they gained access to new networks because their mentors were able to connect them to other people who were maybe more in a more advanced level of their careers in the industry. access to resources, which were shared by their mentors through articles or podcasts that they would then discuss together. And then there was also this access to social support that really is important when you might be the only one in your field. So some interesting anecdotes: some people successfully applied to jobs or applied to graduate school with help from the people around them in the mentorship group. They help each other look over job applications or graduate school essays, and they had someone to discuss tricky situations at work with, negotiating a raise, navigating, taking credit for work that they were doing. That's sometimes tricky. And they were also encouraged to step up and take on new professional opportunities and really claim a seat at the table. One of our participants said that at a recent meeting in her department, she, instead of normally, as she usually did, like sitting behind the room, she sat at the big conference table and everyone was looking at her because most of the women didn't do that. Like most of the women would sit at the back, but she decided to step out of her comfort zone and claim a seat. So even small things like that can actually make a huge statement in, you know, how we see ourselves going forward in the professional world. And so we're really excited to see that this program is really, you know, making an impact in the lives of many people. Some of our challenges that we heard from the participants are that they would really like to have face-to-face meetings, but obviously because this is virtual, it's not possible. However, given the COVID situation, this might actually be a strength. Some groups had some personality or communication style differences. You know, we can never tell how people will get along. And then some people, you know, their lives got busy because their workloads increased, and so they weren't able to participate as much as they wanted to. And that's also a challenge. And then the last challenge is related to the trade-off between flexibility and structure. So because we wanted to allow people to have a tailored mentorship experience where they could really focus on the things that they cared most about, we gave a lot of flexibility to the groups to decide what they wanted to focus on each month. However, there were people also who would have preferred a more structured program where they didn't have to come up with their own roadmap, but instead have some preset goals that they could then work on. So I think my slide is frozen at the moment. Okay. There we go. So I think there was another slide here. Yes. So in terms of next steps, we are actually bringing on a summer intern to work with us to make the mentorship program even better. And we're going to provide more resources, organize more webinars, and design an alumni program that will help our current cohort of mentors and mentees support the next generation. So we're really excited about that. And we welcome everyone to join us. It's free to join, anyone can apply. The applications will start in September 2020. And we have a website where you can go to and sign up to receive updates on when the mentorship program opens again. So that's all from me from the mentorship program. And we welcome you once again to please join our network. It's open, free and open. Follow us on Twitter or on LinkedIn. And if you have jobs to share, please tag us so that we can share the word with everyone in the network. So thank you. Thank you, Cheryl. Thank you, Trixie.